Hi guys, in this video we'll be talking about the GATE exam. So recently received a lot of DMs on LinkedIn from people asking me about GATE exam, that whether they should be giving it, if it's worth the time, if it's worth the effort, how they should be preparing for it, and all that sort of question. So I started writing a LinkedIn post at first, but then the post was getting too lengthy, so I created this particular video. And in this video we'll be going about what the GATE exam is, why you should be giving it, how you should be preparing for it and then giving the GATE exam, what the GATE exam is not, and we try to conceive it as a certain thing when it's not that, why you should not be giving it, how you should not be giving it. It might sound a bit confusing at first, but once we go through this particular video, I think your perception about the GATE exam might change, or you'll have a good idea about it. So with that, the first thing I want to discuss is that am I credible enough to give you an advice, or am I behaving similar to the other influencers who just tend to give you advice even when they themselves have not achieved the same thing and have not idea of what you're trying to achieve. So I believe that only a person who has been through the same journey and has achieved the right result at the end might be able to give you the right advice. Now he might be able to give you the right advice because what advice he would be giving you might have worked for him, but it might not work for you. So let's say 100 people are watching this video, then it might work for, let's say, 10 of you or 50 or 80 or 90 of you, but it's definitely not going to work for 100% of you. So when did I go through the same journey? I went through the same journey thrice. In 2019 I gave GATE computer science, uh, and I got a rank of around 400 in this particular exam. In GATE 2020 I gave GATE civil engineering. In 2021 I gave GATE computer science. In 2022 I was planning to give GATE for mechanical, but I didn't for some reasons. So yeah, I have given GATE in two different subjects and in 3 consecutive years, and every time I got a rank good enough to get into IITs. So I think I do have a good idea about this particular exam, and I could give you some advice for this as well. So the first thing is that what is the GATE exam? So GATE, as we know, stands for Graduate Aptitude Test in Engineering, and it's an exam that is conducted by the top 7 IITs and the IISs. So it's the top 7 IITs are also called the old IITs, and it tests your aptitude and knowledge in the core subjects. So the core subjects in case of computer science would be TOC, DBMS, data structures and algorithm, mathematics, etc. So it would also test your aptitude as well as the core subjects. So in total, 65 questions would be that would sum up to 100. So there would be questions of 2 marks and some questions of 1 marks. 15 marks is the weightage that has been given to the general aptitude section, and 85 marks would be coming from the core subjects. Also, apart from the question having 2 and 1 weightage, there would be 3 types of questions. So MCQ is pretty known, I guess. So what about NAT and MSQs? So NAT basically is a numerical answer type. So in this, a question would be given to you, let's say 2 plus 2, that's the question they asked. Don't get all excited, this is definitely not something they'll ask, but I'm just giving an example. So the answer would be 4. So you'll have to indicate 4 in the section they have provided and then submit your answer. So you have to write this 4 using your keyboard or using a mouse. So that's NAT. What about MSQs? So MSQs are questions which can have one or more correct answers. So there might be a MSQ which has one correct answer, there could be another that has 2 or 3 or 4 answers correct. So you have to write down all the correct answers for it, or I have to mark all the correct answers for it, and only then you will be receiving the rewards for it. So by rewards I mean the score for that particular question. Also in case of MCQs, there's a 1 by 3 negative marking. So if you do it incorrect, you will be charged with a penalty of minus 1 by 3 for a 1 mark questions and minus 2 by 3 for a 2 mark question. So you should definitely not be trying your luck with MCQs. However, you can try your luck with MSQs and with NATs. Also, you have to remember that it's just an exam, nothing more than that. So treat it as an exam only. Now, should you be giving it? Now, why should you be giving the GATE exam? So first reason, and the I think the biggest reason everyone has, is the IIT dream. So I believe almost every engineer in India has seen this dream at least once in their life, that they'll get into a IIT and then they'll be having a great college life, a good campus experience, and all of that, all of those stuff. So that's the reason. Also, once you get into IIT, you have great placement opportunities, you have great research opportunities, you are taught by the best faculties, and a lot more happens in those campuses. So it's definitely worth it if this is the reason. Also, you get a chance to serve the nation. So let's say you get a good rank, then you have the chance to join DRDO or join ISRO. Definitely you'll have to give some other exams as well for DRDO or ISRO, but GATE serves as an elimination round for these. So you give GATE, you get a good rank, you can apply to DRDO and GATE, DRDO and ISRO, and then clear the respective exams and then become a scientist in DRDO and ISRO. And these two agencies or these two organizations need no introduction. They have been doing phenomenally well for the country. Also, if you get a good rank, you can join some of the PSUs. The number of seats that are floated for computer science are comparatively less than the number of seats that are floated for other streams, but still PSUs do float some of the seats for computer science, and if you get into a PSU, you will be treated as an officer. So that's also one of the possibility. Now, how to give the GATE exam? So let's talk about how I gave it in my first attempt. So what I did in my first attempt is that I went to the topper notes. I gave a lot and lot of test series. So I just gave test series for a month or maybe around 20 days, I guess, because I just started preparing 1 month before the exam. So for 20 days, I just gave the test series. And in my case, I gave test series from RBR, that's Ravinder Babu Ravula. Those of you who are preparing for GATE Computer Science definitely would be knowing his name, and from Made Easy. So I felt that the level of questions that were asked by RBR was far higher than Made Easy. So Made Easy tends to ask questions that are somewhat of the level of GATE exam itself. So they are comparatively easier. The questions that were asked in the test series by RBR were comparatively tougher. So I think if you are prepared for something tough, then then if an easy paper comes, it's far more easy for you to do that. So it's always good to do a tougher thing. So it's great. Other than that, Gate Overflow was the new Netflix for me. So like we know all the people that like binge watching on Netflix. So what I used to do is that I used to open Gate Overflow. I used to go through some of the vlogs and some of the answers. And Gate Overflow is a website that would help you a lot and a lot in this journey, because if you search for any previous year questions, you definitely would be getting it on Gate Overflow. And on Gate Overflow, you will be getting different answer from different people, and they will give you different approaches for that. So that would help you widen your approach or widen your mindset for that particular topic, and overall you'll grow well with the Gate Overflow. So this is something you'll definitely have to follow if you're going for Gate. And I solved all the PSQs. If when I'm saying all the PSQs, I don't mean the PSQs of the past 30 years or something. The past 10 years PSQs were all solved by me. So I solved all the past 10 years PYQs. So PYQs is basically the previous year questions, previous years. Try helping others. So what I did is that if some of my friend has a doubt, then I tried helping him, because if I help someone out, then I'll myself have to read that particular topic, and in return my knowledge would increase. Even if I already know that particular topic and I try to help someone, then the concepts I might have developed earlier would get better with time, or would get better with a particular explanation. So helping others is definitely a good way to grow. Also, analyze the tests you give and improve on your weaknesses. So in my case, when I gave the first few tests, I was not scoring well. So I analyzed that my COA, or the computer organization and architecture, was weak. So then you have to analyze the topics and the subjects you are weak at, and then you have to learn those topics. There's no other way of going about it. So prepare concepts from watching videos. So the reason I prefer videos over books is that when you're trying to learn something new and you're watching videos for it, then the kind of retention you have in your brain is far more greater than reading a simple text. Now there are some researches on that. If you want, you can Google it up and read about it, but that's not the aim for this video. But I just wanted to highlight that videos are far better than text. If you want to retain information in your mind in a short span, like you want to read, if you want to watch something and retain it into your brain, videos are a better option. Obviously, if you want more knowledge, then you have to go to books, because you won't be able to find everything in videos itself. So if knowledge is something you seek, go to books. If you want to achieve something, or if you want to learn something in a short span of time, then videos are definitely way to go. Also in my case, I used to watch the videos at 3x. So let's say I'm watching a video for operating system, and the video is, let's say, of 30 minutes. I'd be watching it at 3x speed, so I'll complete it in 10 minutes itself. So this was a time saver for me. Now how I do it in 3x? So we have a Chrome extension for that. You can download the Chrome extension and you can play YouTube at 3x itself. Otherwise YouTube has a limitation of being played at max 2x only. With that extension you can work up to 3x also. So how would I advise you to prepare for it? Now the way I prepared for it was a certain way, and I had to do it in that way because I didn't have a good amount of time, right? I just had a month, so I like went through all the topper notes, I went through all the like previous year questions and the test series. But should you do it in the similar manner possible? Definitely not. So it worked for me, and I also didn't have another option, but I'll recommend you to be consistent. If gate is the exam you're trying to crack, you have to be consistent about it. You have to do the PYQs and attempt the test series. So you can take 2 test series or 3 test series as I have taken, and this is more beneficial as I already explained. So you can take 2 test series. I'm not promoting anything over here, but I myself find that RB and Made Easy are good. Or you can take any test series as you like. Also you have to enjoy the process, because if you're not enjoying the process, then the effort you are putting in seems like hard work. And once you start loving the process itself, it all becomes a cakewalk and you start loving it. Also you always have a clarity on why you are doing the thing that most people are not. So most of your classmates or most of your friends might not be studying for it. They might be enjoying, they might be partying and doing all those sorts of things. And if you are studying and they are not, then what's the reason behind that? You always need to have that clarity in your mind. Also make groups. So the groups you're going to make could be small, could be large. People generally recommend making smaller groups, but larger group themselves have added advantage. So both of them actually have their pros and cons. So if you have a smaller group, then the amount of noise is less. But if you have a larger group, then the benefit is that a lot of people would be asking a lot of doubts. That in turn would translate to a lot of knowledge. So if you are going through all the doubts that people are having, you will yourself acquire a lot of knowledge, and that would definitely be helpful for you. Going ahead, how to give the exam or how to prepare for the exam. The chronology which I feel makes the most sense is that you can start with data structures, then you can come to mathematics. Data structure itself doesn't require any prerequisites. You'll be studying about data types, various data types, then you'll be studying about pointers, about some of the data structures like trees, graph, etc. I don't think it requires any prerequisite. So definitely something you can start it. And then you can go for mathematics. In mathematics we have engineering mathematics and discrete mathematics. This is particular to computer science. Then you can go for algorithms. The reason I say you should study algorithms after mathematics is that in algorithm itself there are some concepts of mathematics being used. Definitely algorithm utilizes data structures, but it also utilizes some concepts of discrete mathematics. So it's better if you have covered discrete mathematics before you start with algorithms. Then you can study TOC. This is one of the easiest subjects I feel. Then operating system, then DBMS, then compiler design, then DLD, then comes COA. I know this is one of the most hated topics. I know most of you would hate it. I don't think there would be a huge amount of people who would be watching this video and who love COA, because COA is technically hated by everyone. I don't know why. Even I hated it at that time. But you need to realize that COA has a very limited syllabus, and it's quite scoring once you understand it. So don't ignore it. Try to study it. Also, you can study aptitude if you want. In my case, I never studied aptitude because I felt that I'll be able to derive the formulas in the exam itself. So I don't need to study it. But you can study it if you have the time. Also, a benefit of memorizing all those formulas is that in my case, when I'm sitting in an exam, usually whenever a question came up, I'll have to derive the formulas first and then solve it. If you have memorized the formula, then you can directly solve it and save time. But in my case, I was always able to solve the entire exam in around 30-40 minutes most of the times. So I didn't have this idea of saving time in my mind, so I didn't memorize all of this formula. But you can, if you are short on time, you should actually memorize all of these formulas that are required for the aptitude part. Now coming to the interesting part, what gate is not. So not the only opportunities you have. Even if you are from a tier 3 college or a tier 3 college, it's not the only opportunity you have. There are a lot and lot of opportunities. It's just one of them, one of those several things you can explore. Clearing it might, again it's a might over here, might make you successful, but failing it doesn't define who you are or what you are capable of. So this is a very crucial point which I feel a lot and lot of people fail to realize. So always keep this thing in your mind. And it's not something people should go for if they're not interested in computer science overall, because it has a high opportunity cost. What I mean by high opportunity cost is that, let's say you're in fourth year and you start studying for gate, or let's say you're in third year itself, you start studying for gate, then in fourth year you clear it, and then you get into IIT and you spend 2 years over that, and then you get placed into a good company. Let's say you get placed into any company XYZ. I don't want to take names of any companies, right? And you will be having certain package. Let's say you are having 50 lakhs per annum package. But the point is, you could have very well studied problem solving over here, and then got into same company in fourth year itself, right? After fourth year itself, in that case, in those 2 years, you would have earned a lot of income, and other than that, you would have also been promoted in that company. So overall, the opportunity cost of doing IIT is high. This is something you should keep in mind. Also, it's just a exam, nothing more than that. We already discussed it. So you have to stop messing up yourself. If you're not able to clear it, it's completely fine. It's just an exam, and it's an exam which 85% people are not able to clear every year. So let's say 1 lakh people give this particular exam, then only around 15,000, I guess, are able to clear it. What about the rest 85,000? So it's gonna happen. Around 85% of the people are going to fail in this exam. It doesn't mean that they are not worth anything, right? There are other opportunities you can explore. There are things that are better than this you can do. You have to find what you're really interested in and what you're really passionate about, and then proceed with it. So why not? Are there any reasons you should not be giving the gate exam? So the first thing is, in in number terms, it's tough. I might say it's easy for me. I cleared it thrice in 3 consecutive years for different subjects. But in terms of number, only the 1% students, or the top 1%, would be able to get into IITs, and only the top 0.5% would be able to get into old IITs. That's the harsh truth about GATE, and you have to understand that. So it's easier to get placed even being a tier 3 college grad compared to cracking GATE. So even if you are in tier 3, you can have a good coding profile. You could be actively coding on Code Forces, on CodeShift, on Lead Code, GFG, and can clear the online assessments of these companies, and then get placed in these companies. Also, a better way is that if you are actively coding on these platforms, you can have a good coding profile. So when you give contest, you tend to have a coding profile over there which anyone can see, and then they'll know that you are good at coding or you are bad at coding and how consistent you are. And if you send that particular profile to any employee who's working in a company, he's gonna see it, and if he likes the profile, he's going to give you a referral. And once you get a referral, and if you have a good resume as well, so if you have put all of these things in your resume, by all of these things I mean the accomplishments you have and the coding profiles, you probably would be getting a call for the interviews. You can clear it and then get into the company you desire, even without being a IIT at first place. So you'll see a lot of people who are in the top-notch companies who never went to any IITs or any IIMs or even NITs for that matter. So IITs is not the only way to get into companies. Also, if you don't have an interest in CS and only in development, so you might be a person who's really good at web development, you might be really good at MERN stack or mean stack or anything, right? And you have no interest in computer science fundamentals, definitely don't go for it. It's then just gonna waste your time and take a lot of effort from you. So you have to analyze what your interest lies in and then do that. So how not to do it, or what are the things you have to avoid? So the number one thing is that you have to avoid distractions. You you have to know that you don't do the mistakes that others are doing, and you have to keep your dopamine levels low. What I mean by dopamine levels should be low is that you need to stop scrolling through your Instagram feed or YouTube feed. These are just taking time away from you and they're making you addicted in return. So it's not at all productive. You have to avoid this. Other than that, stop sacrificing sleep over it. There should be nothing in your life for which you are sacrificing your sleep. Now, let's say you think that everyone's studying for 12 hours. Let's say a lot of people are studying for 12 hours, you'll study for 20 hours. First of all, it's something that's impossible to do, I feel. Even if you do it, then you won't be able to get a good sleep. If you are not getting a good sleep, your brain would not work in the manner it should, and its productivity would get lower. So at the end, it would be more detrimental for you itself, and it would be more detrimental for you than you can actually imagine. So please, it's a request, never ever do this. So get a good sleep in the day study, or you can even study at night, but definitely get a good sleep. In my case, I prefer sleep of 8 to 9 hours. It might vary in your case. Some people just try to sleep for 7 hours or 6 hours even. It's fine. Whatever is the general quota of sleep you have, don't compromise over that. Now, we discussed a lot of things in this video. What are the few takeaways I'll say? Okay, so get your facts straight. Analyze if you really want to give gate, or you just are in some sort of peer pressure or misconception. It could be the case that some of your friends are giving gate and they keep talking about the great life you can have in IITs and all of that stuff, and just because of that you're trying to give gate. If that's the case, definitely not go for gate. If you want to go for gate, then build a group. This group could be on WhatsApp or could be on Telegram, and help others to clear their doubts. If they're asking a doubt, try to Google it, or if you already know about it, try to explain the solution to them. Also, if you yourself are having a doubt, try to put that into the group so that other people can help you out. This is a great way of growing, I feel. So this is something you can definitely do, and it is gonna help you a lot. It has helped me a lot in my journey. I hope this helps you as well. Make a routine that suits you and don't set unachievable targets. It's the same thing as setting I'll study 20 hours a day. You might be able to study the first day for 20 hours. Would you be able to study the next day? Maybe you study again 20 hours on the next day. But then on the third day, you may not be able to study for 20 hours. And then you'll feel that you are not able to accomplish the targets you have set for yourself. And then there's a negative feedback that will keep running in your mind. And at the end of the day, you'll feel that you don't do anything productive, and you'll stop following this routine overall. So when you'll realize it for a month, let's say for a month overall, it's more productive to set achievable targets. So let's say I said I'll just study 10 hours a day. Even this might seem a lot to people, but let's say I study 10 hours a day, and I studied for this particular amount for an entire month. So in a month, I studied overall 3000 hours. Okay, 300 hours, really sorry. Yeah, so in total I studied for 300 hours. In comparison, if someone has set a aim for studying for 20 hours a day, he might have just studied for, let's say, 5 days in total. He just studied for 100 hours. So I have studied much more than him in the long run. So only set aims that are achievable. Although it's a good practice to push yourself, but by pushing yourself, you shouldn't be setting unachievable targets. You have to grind the previous year questions. What I feel is that if you want to do good in any exam, now I'm not even talking about specifically about GATE, but if you want to do good in any exam, previous year questions are the way to go. Because when you look at a previous year question, if you are having the concept, you can solve it. But if you don't have that particular concept in your knowledge, then you can Google it up. You can search on Gate Overflow, and then you can learn about it. Also, when you are not able to solve it and then you are learning it, then I personally believe that that particular concept gets ingrained in your memory, and that stays longer in your brain. So that's a good way. Also, stay away from distractions. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points I'll say that are most important. You must follow it. That's what I'd say. Now, I know a lot of people at the end of the video say that please subscribe, share, and all that sort of stuff. I definitely don't want you to subscribe to this channel, because in this channel I actually don't talk about GATE. I do talk about a bit about programming, CP. Maybe I'll start discussing data structure and algorithm, but I definitely don't have any plans to talk about GATE overall. So I won't be covering the GATE core subjects in this channel. So there's no point subscribing to this channel if you are a hardcore gate aspirant. Although if you want to learn data structures, algorithm, CP, or problem solving, then you are more than welcome to subscribe to it. Also, if you should you share this video to your friends? I'll say if a friend of yours is actually studying for GATE 2023, that would happen in 1 month. So you should not be wasting his time, right? So don't suggest this particular video to any of the friends who's gonna give the GATE exam in 2023 and is preparing really hardcore for this. But if you have a friend who you feel is in need for this video, definitely you can share this video with him, and I hope it even makes his life a bit better or is able to clear his doubts as well. With this, I'll stop the video. And if you have any further questions, or you feel there was some problem in the way I said things, you can definitely let me know below. I'll try to go through all the comments and I'll try to give my insights on them as well. Thanks a lot, guys.